Hey, what's going on? This is Derrick Blue, and we are live at BizLINC. And I have a very, very special guest in the building with me today. He is a mover and a shaker, not just simply in the city of Lake Wales, but in this region. A lot of the development, a lot of the advancements, a lot of things that you're seeing in this city that are improving the quality of life in this city has been spearheaded by this young man who actually started as an IT guy. And now he's actually running the whole entire city. I love a good origin story, and we're going to hear from our city manager today, none other than James Slaton. How you doing, sir?
Good, Derek.
All right, man. I'm doing great, man. Well, first of all, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and coming to have a conversation with us. As you guys know, I just like to have good conversations with good people to talk about leadership, inspiring stories, and to kind of brag about what's happening in this city and the folks who are actually making it happen. You know, James, I love a good origin story, and yours is fascinating. You started your career in IT, and now you're leading the city, and that's quite a leap. So let's start, I guess, by hearing about your journey, man. So how did you get started, man, and what brought you to where you are right now?
And so, yeah, about 22 years ago, I was actually hired as an IT consultant for the city, and I was in probably my early to mid 20s.
Wow.
Came in here, worked for a couple of years as a consultant, and got hired as the city's IT director. And then over the years, I realized I could have a greater impact on the organization. And so I was promoted to support services director, and then after that, public works or public services director, assistant city manager, deputy city manager, and then ultimately city manager. But along the way, I've always wanted to help people, and so started out wanting to help the organization, and I could have a greater impact on IT, and that really evolved to once I could see how my work impacted people's lives, right outside of City Hall, for example. I realized that I could have a greater impact on an entire community and its future, and that's really what led me to where I am today.
Wow, man, that's amazing, man. Hearing about that, there was a turning point that you knew that in my language it sounds like a calling. You knew that it was something that you were supposed to be doing that was bigger, you know what I mean, bigger than what you were doing, and it brought you from the journey from being an IT consultant to the person who's actually in so many ways. I know, you have a reporting structure, but it kind of making things happen and calling the shots here in this city. And I use that loosely, man. But there's been some great things as I drove up, into my office here at BizLINC, man. I noticed that there were a ton of houses going up, man, nice houses, duplexes. I noticed that there was some sidewalks, being poured down this street. There's so much happening right here in the Northwest community, man. And a lot of people see what's happening, but I don't think a lot of people really understand kind of what has gone into making that happen. So I want to bring up something. When I was doing my research, preparing for this interview, and there's a rumor out that there's a $22.9 million grant that came to the city of Lake Wales. Would you mind kind of talking about that? And before I let you talk about it, now I'm familiar. It's called the RAISE grant, and from what I know, colleagues across the country, everybody wants that grant. It's $22 million. Every city wants that grant, from Seattle probably to Atlanta, Georgia. So tell us about the RAISE grant, and how did a little old Lake Wales come to get that grant, man?
So I wish I had an answer for you. Like you stated, that there are cities all around the country that compete for this pot of funds. Big cities, big metro cities, and that they will apply year after year after year, and will likely never get it.
Right.
And so yeah, man, we got it on our second try. I just like to think, we had a great plan, and we've got a proven track record. I'm sure there's a lot more behind the scenes, probably a power higher than ours that
Yeah,
had a hand in that.
of course.
It seems like our way a lot of times has been paved for us here in
Mm,
Lake Wales.
yeah.
And that's the truth. And we're going to put that money to good work, and we're going to redevelop this neighborhood and the rest of Lake Wales.
Wow, man, that's amazing, and I believe you, man. I really, really believe you with that, man. There's some great things that are happening, and I think that's a perfect segue into what's happening right here in the northwest quadrant of the community. It's no secret that the city of Lake Wales is undergoing a transformation, and then also adjacent to that, the northwest community. There's a lot of great things that are happening here in terms of infrastructure and then affordable housing. Seeing houses everywhere, man. So what's happening, man, as it relates to affordable housing, and what's been your vision and your strategy for a lot of the things that we're seeing right here in this city?
Well, there, we're doing a lot over here in the Northwest neighborhood, in particular, as well as the rest of Lake Wales.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you very simply, when I took over as city manager almost 5 years ago, Lake Wales has consistently been near the bottom in the county in terms of our median income
Yep.
and even our average property value. And what I know is if I can move the needle in those two areas, then our people are going to prosper. So my vision is that everybody that lives inside our city limits leads a prosperous life,
Yeah.
right? With a high quality of life. And my strategy is, we've got our Lake Wales Connected plan that kind of lays out our strategic actions, and so we follow that plan. And I surround myself. I make sure that I hire talented people
Yep.
that are passionate about what they do and that want to help change people's lives. It's that simple.
Absolutely, man, and we're seeing it, man. We really are seeing it. So let's turn the page here, man. You've got some credentials. My research team. We kind of look, man, and I think it's cool that you're leading the charge for professional development. Tell me about some certifications that you've received, both personally and for the city, and how they position Lake Wales to be a model for other cities to follow. So, probably about a couple months ago, I met some gentlemen who were from the Midwest, and they just had to get over here because there's this little city that could, that they've been hearing about, and they're all the way in Oklahoma City, I believe, and they're saying, man, there's something going on there, but there has to be a recipe for that, and I believe that professional development, is a part of it, how we kind of sharpen the saw and improve ourselves. So I've heard about an ICMA credential that you received. So talk about some of the credentials and how you view professional development, specifically in a position like yours.
Yeah, man. So I have had several different certifications, and
Hmm.
over the years,
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
And I just can't help it. But probably what you're referring to is the credentialed manager
Yes.
designation from the
Hmm.
International City County Managers
Yes.
Association, and that's really a commitment to, again, lifelong learning and professional development, just like we're
Yeah.
talking about. I mean, at the end of the day, I want to remain progressive,
Mhm.
and if I'm going to lead a community, then I've got to be as sharp as I possibly can. It's that simple.
Absolutely, man. So, um, when I check out social media and check out the grapevine, there's a lot of, I think, some misunderstanding about growth uh, in the city. What, how quick should we be growing? How slow should we be growing? What is growth? Uh, Give our listeners, you know, your philosophy on growth and how a city should look at it. And what's happening and why is it happening in the way that it's happening here in Lake Wales?
Well, Lake Wales has gone for probably 30 years
Yeah.
without any growth. And the end result is, lower property values and quite honestly, not enough money to provide the first rate quality amenities that I think our citizens want here
Mm-hmm.
here in Lake Wales, right?
Yeah.
And so there's some complicating kind of factors that limit, for example, how much you can even increase here in Florida through the Save Our Homes Act.
Yeah.
Ad valorem tax increases, and so the new growth that comes in is really what's going to be paying for those amenities that our citizens ultimately want.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. So it's almost like growth is inevitable. I don't know if you're going to stop growth.
Well, so let me tell you, you're not going to stop it. You might stop it within your city limits if you want, but it's not going to stop it from occurring.
Yeah.
It's likely going to happen either outside our city limits in the county,
Mm-hmm.
or it's going to happen in a neighboring jurisdiction. We've got a sister city just to our west that has been annexing, up to our front doorstep over the last 20 years while Lake Wales hasn't been growing. So the growth is going to come anyway.
Right.
And so we may as well, if we embrace it, then we can direct how that growth occurs.
Absolutely.
As well as reap the financial benefits that come with the growth, because we're going to have to deal with it anyway. We just won't have any say. We don't annex the property. It doesn't have our city limits. We're going to have any say in how that growth occurs. And we're certainly not going to reap any of the financial benefits that come with that growth. Meanwhile, we're still going to have to pay for all of the resources required to manage that growth, even though it's happening in our neighboring cities.
Wow. So growth is inevitable. It's just how we manage it, how we look at it. And you're right, growth is going to happen whether we like it or not. And it sounds like City of Lake Wales is just saying, we got to be in control of our own destiny.
That's right.
Cities around us, the adjacent cities, they're focusing on their growth. And I think it's important that we're focused on ours as well. So, man, thank you for that. So let's shift gears once again. We're going to talk about trust, transparency, and community. So, of course, trust is the foundation of any type of relationship. And that's especially true for a city of Lake Wales. So how do you build trust for residents that live in Lake Wales? What are some ways or some strategies that you use to build trust for the residents here?
Sure, man. For me, both professionally and personally, I'd say my first step every time is that I do what I say I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Every single time. And I think that really goes a long way in terms of building trust with people. You'll never see me deviate who I am. You'll never see me be inconsistent. Yeah. And I'd say those are the keys. I'm consistent and I do what I say I'm going to do.
And that's good, because I think there's some great accomplishments on the horizon. I mean, we're seeing them. We're seeing a momentum building in this city, man. And it's remarkable to see that. But what I know, and of course, I'm sure that you do as well, with great, big projects, there's also big hurdles. And that's just the way that it is. So what if you could kind of talk a little bit about this, what are some of the major challenges that you've seen within the city, from your position? What are some of our biggest challenges in this city?
From where I sit, I think some of the biggest challenges relate to, I think, for whatever reason, there's still a division in this community. And it's not racial, so that's not what I'm talking about here, but there's certainly a divide in the community. I'm not sure everybody's on the same page, and I'm not sure everyone's idea of what's good
Yeah.
for people is the same.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, I completely understand what you're saying. It may be a battle of ideologies, of philosophies of what growth is, or what, what ideas, what things should be implemented. And I think you're right. So that being said, how do you motivate or inspire your team or the people that kind of look to you for leadership, understanding these big challenges? What are some ways that you inspire, or a message that you would have for somebody so they can stay hopeful and optimistic?
You just got to keep going. I mean, you just have to keep going, man, and you've got to get your gratification. In knowing that what you're doing is good, and that you're improving the lives of people, and you just got to stay the course. It's tough, but you have to stay the course.
Yeah, and that's a powerful point, because sometimes the key to success is just not stopping. It's keep fighting, making sure your heart is right about what you're doing, and you just keep fighting. You keep fighting. So we get ready to land this plane here. So if you were 20-year-old James, 24-year-old James, that was the IT guy, man. If he was sitting across from you today, I'm sure 24-year-old James didn't have the grades that, he didn't have the miles on him. But if you could have a conversation with James, who was in his 20s, he was an IT guy, what would you tell him today?
I would tell him to keep working hard when he's here at work, but I would tell him to give 100% of himself when at home. When he's at home, be present. Yeah. Give it 100% while you're there. Wow. And while you're at work, give it 100%. While you're here. And I was always, and I'll tell you, I was guilty of always looking so far down the road that sometimes I didn't see some of the things that were so important to me. Yeah. I don't know that I stopped to smell the roses as often as I should have when I was younger.
Yeah, man.
That's my advice.
Yeah, that's some excellent advice, man, because you're right. Sometimes we can be looking so far ahead. What's the next thing we got to do, man? When that vision is in your heart like that, man, and it drives you and it pushes you forward. But that side of us that says, man, we got to keep going. But it's easy to forget that there's some great things happening now. There's some things right in front of me that I need to pay attention to. Right. And we should always have vision, of course, but we also have to celebrate what's happening right now, man. And that's some great advice. I think I would tell 20-year-old Blue something like that too, man. I tell him a lot of stuff. So looking ahead, let's say 2035, man, where is Lake Wales? What is it? Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, I can tell you exactly where we're going to be. So the first word that comes to mind is vibrant. And then the second word is unique. Yeah. What we're creating here is a destination community. And we're going to be like the little Austin, Texas of Florida. Yeah. And I know that it's going to happen. Wow.
Man, so we can sit here and talk all day, man, but I know you got stuff to do. I know you got people to see. But as always, man, thank you for taking time to sit and chat with me, man. This won't be the last time. If I'll get on your calendar again, we'll do this again. And this is a part of a leadership series that I'm doing. The people who are making things happen in this city. I think more people need to know about it. I think more cities need to take a peek over here at the Ridge, man, and see what's going on here, man. But again, thank you guys for joining. Be sure to share, tag somebody, follow us. And until next time, this has been Derrick Blue.